Well, I've been eagerly awaiting the quarter two fiscal results from Hasbro. Admittedly, they are always a bit confusing to follow because they lump Magic the Gathering in with brands like Transformers, Monopoly, Baby Alive, things like that. So we never really get a clear picture on what's going on with Magic the Gathering. We kind of have to take their word for it. But there's some interesting quotes, things that didn't really make sense in terms of what the finances said. So some quotes from the call said that Hasbro Gaming grew 14% with growth in Magic, D&D, Monopoly. That Magic had a strong quarter two, driven by the growth in Dominaria, as well as a, quote, double-digit increase in players year over year. Where are they? The only thing that I can gather is they're including this new number where they said that there were 1 million signups for Magic Arena. They must be including them as new players. Grand Prix attendance is down. Local game store attendance is down. So they must be. That's the only thing I can think of. And remember, when they're writing these financial reports, it's all about misdirection. If you were to have a double-digit increase in player base, how come none of them bought Magic cards? The best numbers we have are this kind of collective of groups, Hasbro Gaming, which they say includes gaming revenue, most notably Magic the Gathering and Monopoly, which are included in franchise brands in the table above. So we have franchise brands here. Quarter two, this is year over year. So in 2017, in quarter two, they made $550 million. And this year, they made $507, down 8%. The 6-month running total shows them down over 13%. Again, Hasbro Gaming. Hasbro's total gaming category, including all gaming revenue, most notably Magic the Gathering and Monopoly, which are included in franchise brands, was $313 million for Q2 2018, up 14% versus $273 million in Q2 2017. Year to date. 2018, Hasbro's total gaming category was $516 million, down 2% versus the $527. So what we see is it's about even. Q2 was about even. Dominaria did well. There's really no denying that. But the category is still down. The idea that the player base has doubled is completely absurd. I'm sorry, increased by double digits. So that could be 10.01%. Again, seems extraordinarily unlikely given what we see with attendance, what we've seen with local game store events not firing. But this isn't a great sign. If a company isn't growing, it's shrinking. Breaking even is not exactly something you want to write home about. Second quarter 2018 franchise brand revenues decreased 8% to $506 million. However, growth in Magic the Gathering, Monopoly, and Baby Alive were offset by declines in other franchise brands in the quarter, including Transformers, which declined versus the movie launch in the second quarter of 2017. Essentially, they didn't have a movie this year. They had a movie last year, and the franchise itself was down. And the other franchises outside of Magic the Gathering, Monopoly, and Baby Alive were down so much that the entire category was still down. So it's safe to say, if anything, it was up or even marginally. If you look at these numbers, down 13%, down 8%, down 11%, down 3%, down 8%, down 10%, even down 1%. Hasbro as a company is hemorrhaging cash. 10 to anywhere between up to 13% in reverse growth in the last 6 months, and I don't know exactly what they think is going to turn it around. Hasbro gaming revenue increased slightly to 134.3 million. Revenue gains in D&D, Duel Masters, Jenga, and Don't Step in It were partially offset by declines in other properties. Hasbro gaming revenues increased in the international segment and entertainment and licensing segment, but declined in the US and Canada. Hasbro's total gaming category was up 14% to 312.8 million, including growth of Magic the Gathering and Monopoly. Now, we don't know what 99% of that growth could have been in Monopoly. I think it's fair to split it down the middle. We don't really have any other data. So they increased profit in MTG. Now, this is probably due to licensing deals and the flurry of products we've seen in the last 6 months, and Dominaria selling well. But even with all of that, we still look at best to be even. So what does this mean? Well, I think it's interesting. It's about as expected. I actually expected it to be a little more obviously down, but the whole company's down in every major category. They don't help us in understanding the state of our game when the only person we can get information from is the CEO. Their job is to sell to sell to the shareholders. We're not getting the truth out of the CEO. We're not even getting a version of the truth, because we all know the player base did not increase by double digits unless they're including Magic Arena signups, which if I was a CEO, I might do that, because there's really no way. You might not have a DCI number, but you're an existing Magic player, so they could plausibly say, well, they signed up for Magic Arena, we don't have a DCI, that's a new player. That's probably a reasonable assumption to make, although it's highly unlikely. We've seen rollbacks. We know that Hasbro is not happy with the performance of Wizards of the Coast because they cut back over $1 million in prize support, and they raised the prices of their boxes to the distributors. Now, these are both normal business moves, right? Raise prices. Hey, if they use that extra money to improve the card stock, it'll be a good move. If it's just to offset dipping sales, well, then the wholesalers will just pass that on to the local game stores, and the local game stores will pass it on to the customer. Therefore, we're all paying a little bit more. I see some good things happening where they're not overprinting product. They actually seem to be right-sizing their product with Dominaria and even Core. But I see bad things. Companies that are growing strongly aren't tightening the belt on price support to local game stores. They aren't raising prices on wholesale to boxes, although it's not something that they don't historically do. They've often raised prices. I think they had a price raise last year, and they've also reduced price support last year. Grand Prix attendance by all measurable factors is down. Local game store attendance is down for the most part. Some stores are doing fine. This is the best we have. It sounds like year over year, we had a marginal improvement in Wizards of the Coast, specifically Magic the Gathering, which is good. Dominaria did well. Hopefully, Return to Ravnica will also do well and get the company kind of headed back in the right direction. I'm telling you, though, that if they don't fix this card stock, if they continue to alienate their customer base, Q3 isn't going to look good. We don't have a Modern Masters set. We have Commander product coming out, which is generally pretty good, although we did have the Commander product leaked today. It's interesting. What do you think is in the future? What do you think is going to go on with Wizards of the Coast for this summer? Do you see sales turning around? Do you see the fall, kids returning to school, getting things going again? Or do you see this more as continuation of kind of the decline of paper products and the push? There is a conspiracy theory out there that they are actively trying to push out the paper card game and get people into digital. I don't think they're smart enough for that, but it's a theory out there. Be interesting to hear what you have to say about that. Look forward to reading all your responses in the comment section down below. We'll talk to you again real soon.